Hi, good evening, folks. In this video, we're going to take a look at the best Sabres steals of all time in the NHL entry draft. Coming up. All right, guys. In this one, what I want to do is I've laid out. Well, I'm going to explain it. There's no point in me. I'll just confuse you if I talk. So I'll tell you what I wrote down. Now, what I've done here, I've got a list of 12 Buffalo Sabres. Okay. That have been drafted at least 100th or further in the draft. I'm not going by the rounds because let's face it, back in the day there was 15 in the first round, where now there's 32, right? So let's go with 100 and up. So these guys had to be drafted at least 100, 101, 102, 103, and so on. Okay, so I've did some research. The Sabres in their entire history have 260 guys that they drafted 100th and further in their entire history. Of those 260, 21 of them played 400 games or more, okay? Now, what I've done on this list, all these Sabres had to play at least 100 games as a Sabre. Most of them have played 200, even 3, 4, some of them, right? But I wanted to put at least 100 games as a Sabre, so we have a memory of the player. And of these 21, 12 of these players qualify for this list of playing 100 or more games as a Buffalo Sabre. So we will look at it and I will break it down, count it down, and call it any way you want. I'm just going to get right into this, guys, and we will get started. Starting at number 12, okay? And I'm going to work my way up to who I believe is the best steal in Sabres history in the draft. In later rounds in the draft, of course. Here we go. Number 12, Paul Gaustad comes in. I put him at number 12. Yeah, he played quite a few seasons in Buffalo, and we remember him mostly as just a big centerman who really, guys, didn't have much scoring touch, right? And he was the guy that kind of had to stand up for Ryan Miller after that ridiculous crash with Lucic years ago. So I got Gaustad coming in at number 12. He's kind of my least favorite of this bunch, to be honest, but he cuts it. I would have put a list of 13 if it was. It has to be everybody that played at about that many games, right? 100 or more games, but they had to play 400 also. They had to have some sort of career. All right, coming in at number 11. Alice Kotelik comes in at number 11. And Kotelik showed some scoring touch. He had 3 20-goal seasons. If you look, you see he was drafted in the 6th round, 164th overall in the 1998 draft. And if I didn't mention, which I think I did, but I might have not, Paul Gaustad was drafted in the 7th round, 220th overall in the 2000 NHL entry draft. All right, let's jump up now to number 10. Here we go. Joe Ricci comes in at number 10. I know he didn't play a ton of games in Buffalo, but he did have a pretty steady career. You can see he had 900 games. He was drafted twice. I'm not sure the whole story to that. I didn't really research it. I guess I should have, but my guess is something went wrong, obviously, with that Hartford draft, and he had to re-enter the draft again for some reason. But both times, he was drafted well over 100, as you see there. I still remember him for being one of the Washington Capitals that beat us in 1998 in the conference finals. I still remember him putting up the Prince of Wales trophy like it was a Stanley Cup. I still remember that. Okay, let's go now to number 9. And Nathan Gerbe comes in at number 9. He was drafted in the 5th round, 142nd overall in the 2005 draft. And you can see, played well over 100 games as a Sabre. Played about 160, it looks like, somewhere in that ballpark. Anyway, he went on and he carved out a good little career for a small guy. I gotta say, this guy had a lot of heart. And if everybody would have had this guy's heart and work ethic, my goodness, we would have been in great shape back then. I really like Nathan Gerbe. That was one of my mom's favorite players too. She always was prone to liking the smaller guys, I remember. But Nathan Gerbe, I got coming in where 12, 11, 10. I had him at 9th, right? Yeah, 9th. Here we go, number 8. Uwe Krupp comes in at number 8, and he played quite a few years in Buffalo, as you can see, and played close to 400 games. Scored that Stanley Cup winning goal, you might recall, in the 95-96 Stanley Cup Finals with the Avs and the Panthers in Game 4. I believe it was in triple overtime. He was drafted in the 11th round, when there was an 11th round, at 214th overall in the 1983 draft. And moving along, so 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, we're down to number 7. And number 7, I got Brian Holsinger. Brian Holsinger was drafted in the 6th round at number 124 of the 1991 draft. And the thing I'll remember about Holsinger, not so much his scoring touch, because you could see there wasn't much of it, right? He scored less than 100 career goals, was his speed. I still remember how much I liked his speed. Just my memory of Holsinger. I thought when we had our team and we went deep in 99, he was one of those guys that was buzzing around. You know, he had the legs, this guy. And he just didn't have the scoring ability like a lot of NHL guys do. So, let me get down to number 6. And Derek Plant comes in at number 6. Derek Plant, he, of course, will always be remembered for the 1996-97 series against Ottawa when he scored Game 7 in overtime. And if you look at that, that was really his career time. Really, he had 12 games. He had 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points in that 12 games. And he had a 27-goal season for a career high that season as well. Carved out not a bad career for a guy that was drafted 161st in the 8th round of the 1989 draft. Moving along, number 5. And Marcus Foligno, currently, who's still an NHL player, has to make this list, of course. And Foligno played quite a few years in Buffalo, as you see. And he had a career year just this season with 23 goals, 19 assists, 42 points. Of course, he's notably out there to take out bodies, as we all know. But he's done pretty good with his career. He was drafted in the 4th round, 104th overall in the 2009 draft. Let me get it. Keep it going. Number 4. And Donald Odette comes in at number 4. He was drafted, as you see, 183rd overall in the 1989 entry draft in the 9th round. And I still scratch my head when I look at his numbers. His numbers were very good, right? I mean, if you look, his rookie year with us, he had 31 goals in 63 games. Then he had 29, 24, 28, 24. He probably could have been higher in this list, but I just marked it the way I marked it with my own personal reasons. But Odette, what's dumbfounding about this, folks, is to take a look at his Laval numbers in 1988-89 before he was drafted. In 70 games, he had 76 goals, 85 assists, 161 points. And he wasn't drafted to the 9th round. It just doesn't make any sense, really. It's not a time where everybody was scared to draft smaller guys. He's 5'8". I mean, yeah, guys like Marcel Dion weren't the biggest guys, right? It's bizarre. He went so low. But maybe there's just something I forgot about back then, why he went so low. I still don't know. You know, I remember when we got him, I was happy when we got him, I remember, because I knew who he was from the QHL. All right, number 3. I got Christian Ruutu coming in just by a nose in front of Odette, because Ruutu had some very good seasons, 65, 71, 60, 60. And he was instrumental in us getting Dominic Hasek. So that has to, you know, he was part of that whole thing of getting Dominic Hasek. So that comes into play in my thinking too. But he was just a good, hard-working forward, and I liked what he brought. I really did. So he was drafted in the 7th round, 134th overall in a 1983 draft. And moving along nicely, folks, let's go to number 2. I got Brian Campbell as number 2. I do. I really like Brian Campbell. I thought he was a big part of our 06 and 07 squads when we had those runs. And he just, he's one of those guys, when we lost him, it was one of those main pieces, I thought, that we were losing of that team at that time. But look, he played almost 1,100 games in his career. He had 500 points, over 500 points. Very solid career overall, I thought, and I got him coming in number 2. I guess I could have maybe flipped some names maybe for number 2, but maybe it's just such recent memories of Brian Campbell. I really liked him too, Okay, number 1, I think, is a runaway, and here it is. Ryan Miller comes in at number 1. He was drafted in the 5th round, 138th overall in the 1999 draft. And as we know, he's going to have his number retired next year, thankfully, and it's about time. And I am just an advocate for Ryan Miller. And just in case I didn't mention Brian Campbell, I think I did, I might have not. 6th round, 156th overall in the 1997 draft. Now, I do have to mention one more player, and here it is. Victor Olofsson, drafted in the 7th round, 181st overall in the 2014 NHL entry draft. No, he doesn't qualify for this list today because he had to play 400 games, and he's played enough games as a Sabre already. But in 2 years, he'd probably, if he's still a Buffalo Sabre, I would say he would probably be number 2 in this list, if he continues scoring the way he looks like he can score, So that was just wanted to go through some of that with you guys, because I don't know, it's draft time, and I'm thinking of all these things, and I'm thinking, who was our best scorers late when we, because if you look at the numbers one more time here, we drafted 260 guys in our entire history, number 100 or after. And only 21 of them played 400 games. 12 of those 21 played 100 or more games as a Sabre. It's a tough list. It's tough. But it does happen, right? It does happen. All right, that's it for this one. I got one more coming your way. See you in the next one.